What's up guys, TurboEXO here. I wanted to do a little bit different video than I normally do, so this one's going to be all about 10 things that I hate about my car. Starting out, number one of the biggest reasons why I don't like the car, even though it's a Mazda, it's a Ford. Ford bought Mazda, I believe in the 90s, and ever since they bought them out, it went away from the rotary motors to these retrofitted Ford motors that they're putting in all the cars, especially in mine, which is the 3.0 Duratec motor. Number two, there's a huge lack of aftermarket parts for this car. And what I mean by aftermarket parts, there's no cams, there's barely any internals that you can change out in these cars. You can get cold air intakes, you can get headers, but very, very few actually make the headers for these cars. OBX and Weapon X are the only two that I've found that actually make the headers for my car. That's one of the issues that I've been running into, which is why I keep fixing my stock manifolds over and over. Number three, check engine lights. And this is a huge problem with this car because of a few different reasons. For one, if you put a cold air intake on the car, it's going to throw a check engine light. Now why is that? The MAP sensor that's on the car is not set up to run the pressures or the amount of airflow that a cold air intake is going to provide for your car. Also, there's a purge solenoid that's attached to the airbox, and most of the time people don't put that back on, so it throws a code for that as well. So that's one of the main reasons why a lot of people don't like it. Number four, bad motor design. And I say this because my car has had 4 motors put in it. Why? Premature failure. Why premature failure? Factory flaw. There were problems with flaws in the pistons, which caused premature detonation. So the motor itself is just a bad design, for one. There's a lot of different things that I hate about it. Touching on that point, general maintenance is a pain in the ass. If you have to change the spark plugs out in that car, you literally have to take the entire intake manifold off to get to the back 3 spark plugs. Is it worth it? No, it's really not. I'm not going to pay a shop to do it, but I'm sure if a shop did it, they'd probably charge you about $200 just to change your spark plugs out. So, bad on you, Mazda. Not a good idea. Number 5, tunability, which is a big thing to me because whenever you start modifying these cars, you want to get the most out of them. So you start putting cold air intake on, you start doing headers, you start doing injectors, you get into wanting to build the motor, but what lies after that? Tuning the car. These ECUs that they put in these cars are not tunable. You cannot tune the stock ECU in these cars. What? So, what are your options there? Go with a standalone that's going to run you, I don't know how much, depending on what company you go with. You can go with Haltech, you can go with Eptech, you can go with AEM, Mega Squirt, Micro Squirt, whatever the brand is, it's going to run you a pretty penny just for the ECU and the wiring. Now what do you have to do after that? You have to get someone to tune it, which is going to run you even more. So why is it worth tuning this car if you have to spend almost $1,000, if not $1,500, just to get an ECU that'll work, and then you have to pay a tuner? No. Number 6, creature comforts. When I refer to creature comforts, I refer to inside the car, what's within arm's reach. I personally like the seats. They're pretty comfortable. They're motorized if it's the driver's side. If you happen to get the ones that are leather that have the heated seats. That's a plus. I have cloth seats so I don't get the heat. Bad one's cold. But what I mean by what I don't like about the inside of the car is mainly the fact that if you're like me and you're into car audio, you want to be able to customize your radio, you want to be able to upgrade your speakers, you want to be able to do something besides having a stock radio in there. It's all well and great if you keep the stock radio and run a line output converter, or you put a processor in. But if you want to upgrade the radio, you literally have to replace the entire piece that the radio goes in, which is this big. For a single DIN radio, that piece is going to cost you about $150. If you want to go with a double DIN radio, nice 8-inch screen, 7-inch screen, whatever it may be, you're looking at $200 for a piece of plastic and a few wires, and that's it. Is it worth it to have to spend that much to put a radio in, when literally you can buy a kit for any other car and it's going to cost you 20 bucks? 20 bucks versus $200. That's a huge difference. So is it worth it? If you're really, really desperate, yes it is. Because I know I was. Number 7, gas mileage. Why is that a big deal? Well, you know, if you are tight on money and you want a car that's going to get you from point A to point B without breaking the bank, you probably don't want this car. It was advertised that this car would get 26 miles a gallon on the highway and about 21 in the city. Was that accurate? Hell no. This car got like 17 in the city and maybe 23 on the highway. Since modifying it, of course, those numbers are nowhere near. I think once I put on my colder intake, I might have boosted the fuel up to maybe 24, 25 on the highway, but definitely didn't help in the city. If you get the 4-cylinder model, you're in luck because those numbers are going to be a lot better. Number 8, and honestly, I wish I would have made this number 10 because it is my biggest pet peeve about this car. The engine bay. The engine bay is the biggest cluster I have ever seen. You have a motor that from front to back is about this big. I mean, it is literally like a V8 in there sideways. That is how big this motor is and how much of a pain in the ass it is to work in that engine bay. All of the wires, it's not one continuous wiring harness. There's 4. There's 4 wiring harnesses to this car. So, chances of wire tucking the engine bay, slim to none. I tried it, and I realized that it's not going to happen. So, you could become creative and come up with ways of making covers to kind of cover the wires, but as far as a complete wire tuck, unless you're going to delete every system in that car, it's impossible. So, me accepting defeat on that one, yes, I am accepting defeat on trying to wire tuck that car. Number 9, factory flaws. The biggest factory flaws that I know about on the car, because I personally experienced them, the EGR valve. Worst design that I've ever seen. The EGR valve sticks out this far into the intake manifold. It is maybe 4 inches behind the throttle body. It sticks out into the intake manifold, okay? You want as much air as you can to be crammed down into the intake manifold so it gets to the cylinders. What happens when you put a big dong in the way? It robs you of efficiency. Not only that, but you're talking about recirculating exhaust gas into the intake manifold. Is there a chance that you could possibly delete that? There's a chance, but there's also a chance of detonating your motor. So Is that worth it? No. But the other thing you can do is called the EGR valve mod, where you cut out a section of that pipe about this long, and that reduces how much sticks into the intake manifold, and the car will actually run better. Another flaw, which I touched on before, was the actual intake manifold design itself. Being able to change out the spark plugs. Pain in the ass. Another one, the throttle body having coolant lines hooked up to it. Now I don't know about you, but the climate that I live in is not cold. I mean, we barely even get snow, even when it's wintertime. And when we do get snow, it's not cold enough for us to need hot coolant to go through the throttle body to help us start. That was put on there for California emissions, if I'm not mistaken, because honestly, I've never seen it help at all. So, last on the list, customization. Customization on these cars can go any way you can possibly think of. Anywhere from just doing wheels, doing a spoiler, fenders, over fenders, body kit, lights, all that. You're talking about a lot of money when it starts going into getting aftermarket parts to customize the outside. Headlights for these cars, generally, if you're running aftermarket, are going to run about $400 to $500 per set. Some people might be like, oh, that's not that much. But to me, I'm not paying $400 to $500 for headlights when rocks are going to hit them. So, if you want to replace the OEM ones, you're more than happy to, because it's going to run you about $600 just to get those. So, no. I'll keep sanding mine down and clear coating them and making them look new, but I'm not going to buy new. Body kits. You can find body kits on eBay. You can find them at shops. The problem is, most of those body kits are going to be poor quality. They're not going to fit, and you have to make them fit. If you can't find a body kit that you want, you literally have to make it yourself. And any of you guys that are thinking about wanting to do a rocket bunny kit on these cars, sorry to be the spoiler, but they don't make one. So you're going to be out of luck there. Taillights are not expensive on this car. I mean, literally, you can get a set of taillights for this car that are aftermarket for about $150. A spoiler you can literally get for under $100, and you can get wheels for these cars for, whatever your choice is. Just make sure your offset's not too high, otherwise you are literally going to be scrubbing your tires on the fender. I know from experience I had to roll and pull mine in the back just to get them to fit. But that's my list of what I think of my car and the 10 things I hate about it. If this does well, I might do a video about 10 things I actually do like about the car. But I think the bad outweighs the good, but you never know. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you for checking this video out. Thank you to those who have subscribed to the channel, and thank you for those who are liking and commenting on the videos. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you guys come back for the next one. Until then, this is Turbo EXO signing off, and as always, stay boosted.